burns down, and the story behind it is quite interesting. We have a lot of shed and shanty talk coming up, some instances that you'll find interesting in our news desk coming up on the Home Pros Radio Show.
The Home Pros Radio Show. Brought to you by Prime Lending. Home loans made simple. Welcome to the Home Pros Radio Show, the premier resource for the well-informed homeowner. With over 30 years of combined home inspection and renovation experience, your hosts, Tommy Donovan and Shane Hips, help you stay on top of your home improvement and home maintenance needs. Visit homeprosradio.com to access the trusted product and service providers that are a part of our Home Pros network. Find the Home Pros Radio Show on Facebook and Twitter for regular show updates and additional information on the topics covered on our show. To join the conversation, call 248-HOME-PROS. And now, your Home Pros, Tommy Donovan and Shane Hips.
Welcome to the Home Pros Radio Show. I'm Tommy Donovan with RIC Home Inspections.
Oh, and I'm Shane Hips with Closing Contractor.
And we're getting used to being back in the studio, the Prime Lending studio, after being away at the home show last week and everything. It was quite the experience.
It was eventful.
Learning how to go on the road.
Oh yeah, yeah, and setting up equipment and getting things set up, then bringing it back and setting it up again.
And now we're like, is this thing on? Trying to figure it out.
We think everything's working right now.
We think so. But we had a good time meeting all the vendors and all the homeowners out there at the Southern Home and Garden Show, and we've actually been sharing some videos and some experiences that we've gone through. We've got a couple things to share today in today's show in relation to that. One that kind of pokes fun at yours truly, and some other stuff that we have lined up on our slideshow today to share with you. Plus, we're going to be talking about an interesting new wrinkle in the real estate market. Some things that have been changing. Prime Lending kind of tossed this story to us, and I figured it'd be worth sharing. It's talking about ways that people are adapting to a very highly competitive and very expensive market.
Right.
With all the inflation going on and everything like that. And it's regarding that term that I had mentioned in our cold open, the ADU.
Oh, okay.
So we're going to be talking about that in a little bit. So, but first we want to get to this. This is something that we want to get caught up on. It's the
sound.
Please listen carefully.
This one's been sitting here for a couple of weeks. Yeah, so do you know what this sound is? If you do, give us a call. We want to hear from you.
Yeah, give us a call at 248-466-3776.
And it comes out to 248-HOME-PRO. Also, it's our comment line. So if you have anything to share, which I don't think I've even checked this week. I should probably see if we've got any updates. So I'll do that while we kind of just...
I mean, well, we've had some conversations on it, so I would assume that... I guess they come in all different directions. And if we ever don't respond back to you, I mean, please forgive us, because we have these messages coming in into different boxes, and it's like we both get notifications that we have a message, but then we can't find.
Sometimes we can't find them because
like
they're coming in so many. You got Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and all these different places. We try to answer everything that comes in. Email to ask@homeprosradio.com. Maybe it'd help if we streamlined it all, but you can get a hold of us at any one of those locations online. We actually took the time to get out and talk to some folks while we were out at the home show. We shared a video on it. Is that ready? Is that readily queued up? No. Before we get to that, let's
you want to go with this first?
Let's go ahead and do
The
this.
photo from the field.
What are you looking at? I know what I'm doing.
Did you see that?
It's our Home Pros Radio Show photo from the field, brought to you by KT Plumbing for this week. Shane took this picture at the show in the back of our booth.
Yep. Yeah,
And,
we would call out anyone else if we saw it somewhere else. I think we might as well.
Probably would. So I had just had a photo shoot, and I was like, where am I going to put these clothes? I need to hang them somewhere. So I hung them on what I don't know what I was thinking. It just goes to show how like brain fried I was the entire weekend. But I hung them the metal hangers on an electrical
Yes.
plug. Not the brightest thing to do.
Yeah, I'd been at over at a cooking demonstration, and I just happened to walk back, and Tommy was over emceeing something different at that point in time. I just looked, and I was like, nice. So I just took the picture and sent it to Tommy where he was. And I don't know. Did you realize what I just taken a picture of?
I was up on stage where I was emceeing a cooking demonstration, and I felt a buzz in the back pocket. And when I had a chance, I pulled the phone out, and it said, "Photo from the field for this week." And then I realized what I had done. It wasn't until you sent me that photo that I realized, oh gosh, that wasn't smart. So yeah, you got to make sure you watch where you're hanging your clothes, your wire hangers. So nice little lesson for me. So it's one of those things you don't want to do.
Luckily, we didn't have any arcing or anything. Nothing crazy happened.
No loose
while I was
connections
there.
or anything like that. So we got by without too much trouble. So yeah, that's our photo from the field for this week on the Home Pros Radio Show. Now let's make fun of some other people.
Yeah, let's.
Do we have the video ready to go? Is it?
Yep.
Yeah, here it is.
If you're ready, I'm ready.
If you haven't seen it yet, this is some interviews we've been doing with some of the folks at the radio show. I like to take the time to ask some questions, see what people know out there about different things about homes, and it's just a man on the street kind of feature we like to do at the home shows. So here's the latest one that we've got here.
Tell me, what is a clean out?
Like a colonic?
Like clean out your closet?
Clean out the garbage disposal? Clean out? Yeah. You could also on your plumbing drains. Right?
He was thinking of the right
Where in your home would you find effluent?
part of the house.
What?
Under the kitchen cabinets.
That's a band.
What does HVAC stand for?
Heating and air conditioning.
What's the V? Moving air through your house, you need to be well
Ventilated.
There we go.
That's it. Where in your home
Can we
would you
turn it up
find
a little bit?
stud?
In my bedroom.
In the kitchen.
Oh, in the kitchen. Where in the kitchen?
Perhaps preparing some food.
Oh, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Where in your home would you find a stud? In the wall. Very good. Where in your home would you find a stud?
Oh, in the wall.
In the master bedroom.
Good answer. So that was one of my favorite answers. I had a bunch of other ones. I had some good answers that unfortunately didn't stay in my recorder. I was a little upset about it. I got home and realized that they got deleted.
Right.
Or at least I thought I was rolling, and I hate all that's frustrating.
Well, when we're out there, you always have stuff in your pockets and stuff. So
Yeah.
I'm sure buttons get pushed here and there, and it's like we need to get you like an Indiana Jones kind of vest or something. Where you
I had a client today who was a police officer, and I just could not wait to. I didn't want to distract from what we were doing with the home inspection, but he showed up in full gear, and I could not wait till we were done so I could go. Let me ask you a question: do you ever do you have to take a whole day's worth of classes to kind of organize where everything goes on your body?
Right.
Because he had a taser, he had his gun, and he had 2 radios. He had all this stuff. I don't know how they do it.
Right.
I said I told him I have a hard enough time going with my one tool belt going, where's my thermometer? Where did I put it? God, I couldn't arrest somebody because I'd be like, where are my handcuffs? Where'd they go? So,
they're in the wrong pocket.
yeah. Can you I'd be telling the thief, do me a favor. Can you hand me that over there? So, yeah, I wouldn't be much help. So, yeah, that was a lot of fun getting a chance to kind of here's the thing is a lot of times we take for granted the stuff that we know.
Right.
And, what does HVAC stand for? It's like, boom. I mean, we deal with it every day.
And most people cannot answer that question.
At how many people it just stumps.
Even if they get some of it, the V always throws them.
Yeah, it does.
But yeah, it does.
That's like
one of those
maybe I
questions.
need to go around asking what's the DWV in plumbing refer to, because they think they'll think of drain, and they'll think of probably they won't even maybe venting, but waste they have no idea. So there's little things that are helpful to know about homes.
My favorite's always the spigot.
The spigot question.
And I know you
I don't think
asked
that
it.
was that wasn't in that.
It wasn't on this,
episode.
but I know you asked it some, so it may have been one of them that got deleted.
It
or
didn't. Well, I got some good answers. I just, I just wanted to edit something fast so we could post it
Right.
on social media for Sunday morning.
Right.
And you'd be surprised that 1 minute video when you're fishing through all these different audio recordings and matching them with the proper video recordings.
Yeah.
That 1 minute video took like a couple hours to edit.
Right.
It was insane.
Well, I tell you, this year it also seemed like more people knew how to spell spigot too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it's
didn't
like
stump
you didn't
anybody with
stump
that. But I threw
everybody.
in some new questions for day 2
Yeah.
that I had some fun with.
There you go.
So we'll try to get to those. Maybe next week we'll share another version because there were a lot of people who got a kick out of that video. Maybe I can add some of the other questions in and share those.
Right.
We have another video that kind of caught some attention online. I thought it was funny. I was not expecting it. It was on a roof and found a little weak area, just a bouncy area, and I just thought I would share my observation on this roof. You got that here?
Mm-hmm.
So let's see. Let's go ahead and play that. And I'm basically saying I noticed a dip in the roof, so I figured I'd try to check it out. So here's what I did. Actually, it looks a lot bouncier now on the big screen. But it was one of those deals where this was like a shed roof coming off of an original home that they did like a sunroom or something off of it, and there was no attic access.
Right.
They didn't install any.
Oh, okay.
So I walked out on the roof and noticed when I climbed out that window that it was a little bouncy right there.
Mm-hmm.
So it reminded me of a video that I saw at an ASHI convention or something like that. That's actually some roofers had posted.
Right.
And I just thought it was interesting. They had one of their guys bouncing, and I remember sitting in the audience going, "I wouldn't do that." if I were you."
Yeah. You might fall through there.
Yeah, yeah. And so here I am doing the same thing. And I got a lot of response. Like by the next morning, there were like 30,000 views. I got all kinds of we got all kinds of comments, everything from, hey, keep bouncing. Let's see, who was it? I like how two guys online, Z-House was his handle, and Brett. They said, jump harder, like really get some air. Get some air and plant your feet. They don't want me to go through it. I like that one. Michaela says, am I the only one who has had this roof in my dreams? I hope not. I hope it might be a nightmare if you did. So, and then Chuck says, make sure. Oh, this is funny. Chuck, who he's a paramedic.
Okay.
He said, make sure we're in the driveway before trying this at home. You can go through. Because I was kind of worried. It was pretty loose.
Yeah, it looked pretty bouncy.
Yeah, the roof is, and this is cool. I love this one. This guy was obviously a roofer. He calls himself, just because he calls himself Super Roofer.
Super roofer.
That's how I knew he was a roofer.
Yeah.
But the Super Roofer said that the roof is too shallow for shingles.
It does
So
look pretty flat.
Probably has been leaking since it was roofed, and that was a very good observation.
Yep.
And it was one of those things that that I didn't really catch at first either. But for him to catch it that fast,
Yeah.
we don't want 3-tab shingles on a shallow roof,
Right.
On a low pitched roof. Here's another one. This is a very minimalist type of observation from Chris. He says, "But did you die? So it's
Good
okay."
point. You didn't die, so
Yeah,
it's
so the
okay.
roof's okay, right?
Yeah.
Steve says, keep bouncing, knocking the transit off the wall. Asbestos transit siding. So he notices. It's interesting what the people see.
Yeah, different
all the
people
different
notice
things
different
people
things.
notice. I need to start putting more of these videos out because, he was referring to the siding. And, of course, yes, it is the type of siding that has been historically known to contain asbestos. Of course, you never know until you test it.
Right.
But,
That's what they say.
Yeah. Yeah, but that's what they say. So it's funny what people pull out of different observations here. Matthew says, I can tell. Here's another observation. Matthew says, I can tell by the flashing by the windows that this house is not in good shape.
Right.
So, I mean, look at the flashing. I mean, it's not really flat. That's one of the things I wrote up, in addition to a lot of other stuff. But they basically tried to flash the roof with shingles rather than doing metal flashing and that sort of thing. So, I wouldn't be surprised if where I was bouncing there, we've had some leakage.
Right.
So we have. Let's see. What else do we have? We have. I had a lot of warnings. Stop doing that.
Oh, yeah.
Jay says we see the movement, so stop standing on it. Golly. And then I had a lot of people who were like, "That's pretty dumb.
Yeah.
That was stupid of you." But what are you going to do?
Some just flat out want you to
I'm
fall
a trained
through.
professional.
There you go.
But
There you
yeah,
go.
I had fun.
You had a
yeah,
harness.
You're probably right. It wasn't smart. A lot of the people who said that was dumb, I was like, yeah, you're probably right. I didn't disagree with them.
Yeah.
So I was taking a chance by doing that.
Yeah. You can always say you had a harness. At
That's
your back.
right.
No one saw it.
Yeah. Yeah. I could always say that I saw the framing underneath. I knew it was going to fall through, but that's not true. I had no idea what was under that roof.
I had no idea what was there.
That was a very interesting house. That whole facade. So if you could look at the side of the house, and for folks who are actually listening to the podcast, I apologize. I don't know how else to describe this with words. You have to check out the video.
You got to paint a picture here.
On our but check out the video on our social media at Home Pros Radios, where you find us: Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, all those places. And you can also watch this video that we're broadcasting now on YouTube on our channel. But if you can imagine, this was a gable house. It still is a gable house, but the gable was much steeper because it was like a 1918 style farmhouse. But they had done a whole facade off the front of the house to make it look more like a colonial.
Yeah, I see the
revival.
column there, so that's why I sort of assumed that.
And so there's this whole facade they built on the front of the house,
Right.
That and two sets of windows. That originally the front of the house had it was a side gable house with a front gable and a window that opened up into the upstairs hallway. What they did is they added this whole facade off of the front to get the big columns, and then there are two windows on the front of the house that are completely. They go to nowhere. They go right into the attic. There's this whole space. So I had to write up, like, you got to get some access to these spaces because there's all that, if there was a fire or something that broke out, no one could get to it. But it's quite an interesting house. Very interesting. Lots of things going on. In fact, when I got there, I was like, oh, my gosh. Do I really need to be here? Because there's so much. But then I was thinking, well, these are usually the homes that you can find some interesting videos and interesting stories in, and we did find some of those. So thanks to all those folks who commented and shared their thoughts. I always love hearing from you guys. And, that was the adventure that we had with that roof. So check it out at Home Pros Radios where you can find the video. Also, coming up, we're going to have to take a break here. When we come back, we're going to talk about a new a new
term
aspect, a new wrinkle in real estate.
Okay.
It's a little term that I've never heard of before and have been introduced to thanks to Prime Lending. We're going to be talking about ADUs. What are those, and how does that affect your choice or your options as far as looking for a new home? That's coming up right after this commercial break on the Home Pros Radio Show. If you're a home service provider who takes pride in your work and strives to be recognized as a trustworthy professional in your industry, the Home Pros Radio Show wants to hear from you.
Become a Home Pros Radio Show partner. Send us an email at ask@homeprosradio.com.
Your Home Pros Radio Show Expo listing and your featured appearances on our podcast are just the beginning when it comes to the ways that we can help brand your business on the Home Pros Radio Show.
It's a great opportunity. It's just an email away. ask@homeprosradio.com.
One of the Home Pros Radio Show partners that makes this show possible is Carolina Heating Service. We'd like to invite you to give them a call. They are a near you company. And when your heating and air system breaks down, it usually happens right when you need it, does it not?
Oh, yeah. It's always the worst times.
And that's why Carolina Heating Service came up with the Carolina Comfort Club, where there are two ways to be a member. You have the Comfort Plan and the Comfort Plus plan. Whichever plan you have, they'll come out to your house at least a couple times a year and make sure everything's running right. At the start of the heating season, at the start of the cooling season, to make sure that you're not hit with any of those
Unforeseen.
inconvenient situations that could pop up with your heating and air system. So give them a call. Here's the number. It's 800-261-0359. You can also find them online at carolinaheating.com. It's Carolina Heating Service. They're a near you company. Thank you for watching the Home Pros Radio Show. And, of course, our show is brought to you from the studios of Prime Lending. It's our Prime Lending studio, right?
They're the big title sponsor.
Yeah, and all of this talk about building and maintaining your home doesn't mean much if you don't have the funding to make it happen. And that's why we like to invite you to call Prime Lending. They got offices all around the country for you, but if you're right here in the South Carolina area, give Mark Hawkins a call. Here's his number. It's 864-349-0160. When it comes to getting the funding you need, Prime Lending makes the process easy and personal. Websites and 800 numbers, man, they can lend you money, but are they going to sit down with you face-to-face and actually give you the products that you need? Because there's so many options.
There's something to be said to be face-to-face with someone instead of just talking to them over the phone or emails or whatever. Yeah, something to be said for that.
Absolutely. So give Prime Lending a call if you're remodeling your home, you're purchasing your dream home, or just need a cash-out refinance. That's another option that they can help you out with and sit down with you face-to-face. 864-349-0160. If you're in upstate South Carolina or South Carolina area, period, give Mark Hawkins a call. And wherever you are in the country, there's a Prime Lending office near you. Of course, with Prime Lending, buying and refinancing your home is simple, fast,
and hassle-free.
That's it. And welcome back to the Home Pros Radio Show. I'm Tommy Donovan with RIC Home Inspections, and I find stuff.
And I'm Shane Hips with Closing Contractor, and I fix stuff.
Yeah, and I'd like to know if you know how to listen to stuff by listening to this.
The Closing Contractor Mystery Sound.
Please listen carefully.
What is that sound? Anybody have any ideas? I would love to hear if you have any ideas.
Me too.
This is one of the first mystery sounds we ever did, and I brought it back.
Yep.
So it's classic. It's a classic. It's one of the...
It's a classic. If you know, give us a call.
Yeah.
248-466-3776.
That's right. 248 Home Pro. It's also our comment line. So let us know what you think, what your what your opinion is, or whatever, good or bad. Even the bad people that say bad things to us, and Shane responds and gets us kicked off Facebook.
Yeah, I get in trouble.
What did they do? Did they delete your comment?
Yeah, they deleted it. Then I got an email or some kind of message.
You got a warning?
I got a warning that it didn't go along with their policy.
He was dropping the F-bomb.
I didn't say any bad words.
What did you? The guy was nasty to us. All right, let's vent a little bit. What was it? It was a post about one of our videos from the news desk.
The robot.
With the robot, yeah, who did escape.
The
robot that escaped from the hotel.
That escaped.
Yes.
Apparently, he didn't like it. He didn't like
some
story.
guy, an inspector, I'm assuming, right?
He was an inspector,
and
yes.
He said, you're not seriously telling me people watch this?
Yeah, something along those lines, yes. But what was the word that he used a certain word in there, but I can't remember what it was. What the word was. Remember, because that's what I talked about.
I don't think I ever saw the message.
Yeah,
remember last segment we were talking about we don't catch all the messages? This is why. They're all over the place. We're trying to stay organized with them.
Yeah, so I basically, he said, no offense.
Oh yeah, no offense. Oh, that's key actually.
That was actually really key.
He said no offense spelled incorrectly. With a C, like really a fence you put around your yard. No offense. No offense.
He said, no offense, but does anyone really?
But I'm going to offend you. No offense, but does anybody really watch this?
I'm about to say something that is offensive.
I hate it when people do that.
Yeah.
I need to write a bit about that, actually. Let me write that down.
So I just responded back that our listeners actually can spell the word offense. And they didn't like that.
And that was mean.
That was
Are
mean.
you kidding me? What he said was apparently not appropriate according to Mark Zuckerberg.
Correct.
Yeah, whatever. No offense, Mark, but
Yeah, you can't defend yourself, but you can be rude to someone.
yeah.
Obviously. So it's okay.
What are you gonna do?
Hey, we still just fine.
Typical, but it was a typical home inspector comment, I would say. I have to admit.
Yeah.
I mean, home inspectors can be real smart Alex. Mm-hmm. I try not to be that way. There's some other folks I've met recently that try not to be that way, and that's a good thing. But yeah, we do have our tendencies to get in a little.
Yeah.
What would you call them? I know in some circles they can be called pissing matches.
Yeah, toppers and
Try to outdo each other.
Yeah. I see them one-ups.
I always sit back and watch. It's funny. I find it funny because I'm not that kind of person.
Right.
But I go on a home inspection conference and I'll sit back and watch guys who are like, this is back before our phones had cameras in them.
Right.
We would all walk around with our own cameras, a
Right.
digital camera. Like, well, what do you use? Well, here's what I use. I got how many megapixels do you have? Well, mine has this much memory. And but I've got a digital zoom, and well, you don't want digital zoom, you want optical zoom. And I'm like, really?
Just take the freaking pictures and put it in the report.
Yeah. And what does the job? And then the next thing that came out, I remember when infrared cameras were new, and that was the big thing. Do you have an infrared camera? I got one. I'm like, God, really?
I can measure through concrete and
Yes. I don't know
steel
how to
and
interpret
everything
it,
else.
but it makes pretty colors. So, and then I guess it was in the late 2000s, it was drones.
Oh
Do
yeah.
you have a drone? I don't, I can look at all the roofs because I have a drone.
Yes.
I have fine. I remember back in the turn of the century. Mm-hmm. This is like 2003.
Way back when.
Yeah. At the beginning of the
Time.
century. When we were doing it was a moisture symposium I was on. It was all of us inspectors, and we were learning how to determine if there are moisture issues, how to determine if there are, or at least to the best of your ability. Since we can't do destructive discovery, what's the best way that we can actually identify moisture, like in a wall? What are the things you need to look for? So moisture symposium is what we called it. And you had home inspectors going back and forth about, here's the moisture meter I use. Here's the one I use. And it was really funny because there's one friend of mine, he's an inspector out in California. He goes, you know what? This is visual, so I apologize for the podcasters, but the one inspector goes, you know what I do? You know how I can tell if there's here's my moisture meter that I use. It's wet. He basically touched the wall with his finger, and it was like, it's wet.
Yep. Dead
And
sign.
really, that's all you need if you know what you're looking for. Mm-hmm. So we love our gadgets, and we love to outdo each other as inspectors.
Get the newest, greatest possible. Yes.
Exactly. Well, you know what the newest, greatest thing in real estate is?
An ado.
It's an ado. An ado. What is an ado? Is it much ado about nothing? Well, we're going to find out. It's something that's actually an article that we'd like to share from Prime Lending. We are here in the Prime Lending studios, and they shared this article with us. There's, of course, a shortage of affordable housing.
Yes.
In most markets. And one solution that homeowners are seeking out, who need more space or need more options, rather than having to find a new house, maybe they can move in family or something like that, and actually build an accessory dwelling unit, ADU. Mm-hmm. So what is an ADU? An ADU, also known as I've never heard of this term.
Let's hear it.
But the author says it's also known as a granny flat.
A granny flat.
Yeah, that sounds like something you might need to go to the doctor for.
Right.
A carriage house. I've heard of that one.
Okay.
An in-law suite.
I've heard of that one. That's what we typically hear around here most.
Or a garage apartment.
Okay.
I hear that and I think of those apartments over the garage or in like a bonus room.
Oh, yeah.
I think of the Fonz.
I got you.
Remember Happy Days?
Yeah. I don't remember him being in a garage apartment.
He lived up there.
I just remember him hitting the jukebox and the music.
Oh,
playing.
yeah. So I've never heard of a granny flat, but no, I did an inspection where they had the house was built in 06, and in like 2013, you could tell that they had finished out a whole area of this downstairs in this basement, and they had added a kitchen, and they had added a bedroom and a living space.
Right.
And I was like, this is either for the help, or it's for, or I guess, not that it's, like a housekeeper, or, a grandma or something like that
Right.
that was coming to live in the house. It's also known as all those different things. You can also use ADUs or accessory dwelling units for rental income, or just to house an additional family members are the two options.
Yeah.
So I've seen that. I've seen that a number of times when folks will just use them as rentals.
I told you I actually pulled a permit for one today.
Yeah.
A garage that we're about to.
Are you going to do a
Turn it.
garage and a living space up above?
No, it's an existing garage in a ranch house. It does have a basement, but it's an existing garage, and we're going to just add a little kitchenette and a bathroom, and just a little open apartment. It's for an elderly family member that's going to move here.
Okay.
And this what's funny is this house already has two kitchens. It's already got the main kitchen, and it's got downstairs in the basement. It's got a kitchen also.
third kitchen.
So it's gonna be the third one.
That's the kind of house that I would inspect and be like, oh my God, are you serious? I got to do 3 kitchens?
Yeah. This one, because the buyers, they actually they have a son that's gonna live in the one downstairs, and then one of them's mother's gonna live in the one in the garage. So these are really becoming pretty popular.
Yeah, I mean, if you think about it, if it's hard to find new property elsewhere, make the most of what you got. And that's what people are tending to do. So what constitutes an ADU? Well, we've got a list here that we have on our big screen behind us that we can share and help define that for you. They're located on a single-family residentially zoned lot, not like a duplex.
Right.
Right? A duplex would have to be zoned for multifamily.
Correct.
Where you'd have 2 living units within the same building.
Mm-hmm.
So you think of it as they would be on the same property. Wouldn't that cause issues?
Them being on the same property?
If it's zoned as single family?
No, it's still
because it's not the same thing.
It's considered a single family because it's an accessory dwelling unit. It's just like a add-on apartment.
Yeah, that's right. The difference is not only does a duplex have to be zoned multifamily, but the duplex, I think the big kicker here is it would have 2 different addresses.
Yes,
and that's what would cause you to have to be zoned multifamily.
Right.
So these would just be an additional living space. It's on the same property, has the same address.
Yep. And these are typically going to have one electrical meter, one water meter, where a duplex is going to have separate.
Yes.
Typically, they're going to have all that separated.
Utilities.
This is just a single story that they are using a space as an auxiliary dwelling unit.
And by definition, it's smaller than the main residence.
Right.
Of course.
And I tell you something else that I think is a big reason for this is this is something I learned at the Southern Home and Garden Show, because they have a lot of good panels there, a lot of educational stuff that you can sit there and really listen in.
They had a real estate panel there.
Yeah, and one of the things that I learned that this makes perfect sense for is and I know, I'm a partner in an investment group also, and I have we would never buy a house that was less than 3 bedrooms unless we knew we could make it a 3-bedroom. Like there's one we could easily cut in half or whatever. But there is such a shortage right now for 1 and 2 bedroom housing. There's none because people just don't build it. It's not something that's
a good
common.
point. Yeah, you're absolutely
There's not
right.
any, and so many people are wanting to live by themselves now. They're wanting to get out of the house. Just
they're
have
wanting
a
their own space where they can work.
Yes,
because they're working from home
Yes.
and doing things like that.
They're wanting their space, and they don't care so much about the yards. They'll go to the park. They'll go downtown to the big parks and stuff. I mean, so there's such a shortage of one bedroom or 2 bedroom houses or apartments or whatever that this would make perfect sense.
Yeah, you're absolutely
to just
right.
add it on where they have their own space. They're still in that house, but they have their own
Yeah.
space, and they don't have to,
And
they
that
don't
kind of
have
gets to some of these requirements that define.
Right.
It's smaller than the main residence.
Uh-huh.
It includes a fully functioning kitchen and bathroom, so
Got
you
it.
don't need the main house for the necessities. It can be attached or detached.
Right.
Attached or detached.
Correct.
From the single-family residence.
Yep, because you could easily do it on a garage
It
out
could be in a
back.
basement. It could be a garage out back. It could be a pool house.
Yes, absolutely.
Transformed into a living space.
Yep.
Let's see. It has a separate entrance. That's another key. It has a separate entrance from the main home.
Yes.
In other words, you can't get to that.
You don't have to go through another
From-
one to get to it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. I guess unless it's in a basement. Basements are usually attached.
Well, technically, you probably can get to it, but you don't have to go through one to get to the other.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, the one that I'm doing in a garage right now, the kitchen door, the door between the garage and the kitchen is still going to be there, but I'm adding a door on the outside of the garage where they can access this without having going through the front door and all the way
I
back
see.
around to the
Yeah.
garage.
That makes sense. So it has a separate entrance from the outside, and it does not have a separate address, which we talked about earlier.
Right.
So, but those are the criteria. So you might have an ADU on your property if you
And
couldn't
didn't
make the
even
most
know
of
it.
it. Yeah. Yeah. An accessory dwelling unit. That's what it's called. Now, well, of course, one of the things that you want to keep in mind is if you're looking or purchasing a property with an accessory dwelling unit on it,
Okay.
you have to remember that sometimes there are certain regulations as far as getting a loan. And that's
Okay.
the one thing. That's the purpose of Prime Lending stepping in and providing this article. They're saying that, there are guidelines and restrictions that apply to getting a loan for these types of properties. So make sure that you're hiring a loan officer who knows their way around these types of
Definitely interesting.
regulations or qualifications. So Prime Lending has a construction loan program if you're looking to build, if you're looking to add on. Another option, of course, could be maybe you have the accessory dwelling unit and you want to build a house.
Right.
That's always an option too. So I've seen that plenty of times. In fact,
Right.
I've got property where I have a 2-bedroom house, 1 bath.
Uh-huh.
Where eventually I'd like to build a nice mansion, a nice.
And you still
house
have your
one day.
2-bedroom, 1 bath. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I think it'd be interesting to talk to an appraiser
yeah.
about these adues. Mm-hmm. We're making this word. We
is-
keep saying
is it ado?
I'd rather say ado than adu.
Yeah.
But
Has a ring to it.
I think it would be
This is
interesting
just-
to talk to an appraiser. I mean, what's the value? I mean, obviously they're going to have to make adjustments.
Yeah.
For them. But I think it'd be an interesting conversation since they are becoming more popular, and obviously Prime Lending has found the need to put that information out. Obviously, they're seeing it a lot more. So I would just like to know how the appraisers adjust up for. I mean, how much you gonna add for another kitchen, and
Yeah.
but be interesting.
So for more on this, visit blog.primelending.com. That's the Prime Lending website where it's their blog where they have all kinds of helpful information. We always like to pull some of these articles off of that blog. So we want to send you in that direction for blog.primelending.com. All kinds of interesting lending advice for you there. We're going to have to take a break when we to pay the bills, if you will. I haven't said that in a long time. When we come back, we're going to visit the Home Pros Radio Show news desk after this. Thanks for watching the Home Pros Radio Show. Shane and I would love to know what you think of the show, so we'd like to invite you to leave us a review.
At the Home Pros Radio Show, it's our goal to keep homeowners entertained, inspired, and informed. So let us know how we're doing.
Your review helps us ensure that we're including the content you want to hear and that we're reaching out to more homeowners just like you.
So click on that review button and tell us what you think.
Your relationship with your home is an emotional one. Your home provides a sense of pride for you and your family. Through ongoing training, past experience, and current technology, RIC Home Inspections can provide you with the most reliable and accurate information available so you can enjoy the rewards of your homeownership. Call RIC Home Inspections at 235-5505 or visit us online at richomeinspections.com. That's 235-5505. RIC Home Inspections. Love where you live.
The Home Pros Radio Show is brought to you in part by Screen Mobile of the Piedmont. Established in 1982, Screen Mobile National has been around that long, and they're the nation's largest screen installation and repair company. They offer many different options for windows, screens, whether it's a corporate location or even a home residential location. They can bring their mobile units out to you and repair your screens, replace them, or even create a whole outdoor environment that you can use to keep the bugs out with their screens.
I've always been impressed with the tent one, the one that keeps your siding from melting or your neighbor's siding from melting.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's saying tint with an I to help cool things down. Yeah, for those of you who are not in the South.
From South Carolina.
Exactly, and that'll protect some of your outdoor building products like your siding from melting. That's a good point.
It's not always a grill. It can be a window.
That's exactly right. So give Screen Mobile a call. There's a Screen Mobile in your area. You can visit them online at screenmobile.com. If you're in the upstate of South Carolina, call Screen Mobile of the Piedmont, 864-641-7476. And we're back on the Home Pros Radio Show. I'm Tommy Donovan with RIC Home Inspections.
And I'm Shane Hips with Closing Contractor.
And we're broadcasting for the Prime Lending Studio, and we're bringing you home improvement like you've never heard before. Have you heard this?
The Closing Contractor Mystery Sound.
Please listen carefully.
No more monkeys jumping on the bed. It's not a bed, but can you tell me what that sound? Isn't that what you said?
Yeah,
Who said that? I thought that was so funny.
I said the squeaking bed.
Squeaking bed. All right.
Hey, give us a call
this week.
It's 248-466-3776.
This is the part of the show where it's time to visit the Home Pros Radio Show News Desk. Oh, that wasn't the sweeper I wanted. What happened to the typewriters? Well, they must be done for the day. It is a little late. Maybe maybe the staff is gone for the day.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I had to quit doing it.
Oh yeah. Okay, so the stories that I was able to pull off the news wire, if you will, have everything to do with our conversation we've been carrying on with today, and I meant to tease that in the last segment. These are all kind of ADU stories.
Okay.
What are they called again? Accessory dwelling unit stories. First one we have here.
This one?
This one's.
So this is
I'll tell
ADU?
you the story, and you tell me what you think.
Okay. Let's have it.
These are all related to, I would say, accessory features, maybe not dwellings. But,
okay.
All right. So this is a treehouse story. This is from New Hampshire.
Okay.
So where the parents of an 8-year-old boy hired a contractor to build a treehouse in their backyard, which we have pictured behind us on the big screen.
They hired a contractor to build it.
Yeah. They checked with the neighbors, and there were no objections throughout the process until it was done. Neighbors were shocked by the size of the project.
Yeah.
So, according to WGME, which is where the TV is the news outlet that this story came from, the tree house is 25 feet long, 8 feet high, and 168 square feet. It's basically a platform.
Yeah.
Well, I will say this: the railings aren't to code.
Yeah, the railings are jacked up.
The railings aren't to code because they're horizontal and not vertical.
Yeah, some kids go climb that and fall over top of it.
Exactly. So, a neighbor. So what happened was what it sounds like is that the homeowner, the parents actually, what are their names on here? They're in here somewhere. The Maloneys. They told their neighbors, "We're going to build a treehouse for our kid," and they're like, "Sure, no problem, that's great." And that's the feedback she got from everybody. And they built it, and now that it's built, the neighbors are like, That's too big.
Yeah.
That's too imposing. So
Yeah.
we have Mark Moses. One neighbor says its size is imposing and dominates the field of view in our backyard and from our house. The Maloney said they never set out to anger their neighbors and make enemies. We have the news story. I probably could play the whole news story, but they had video of her speaking at like a county council or a city council meeting.
Right.
So look, I wasn't trying to make anybody mad. John Rochick, who built the tree house, said the family tried to please the neighbors by checking with them first, which I had mentioned. Portsmouth Board of Adjustment ruled last week that the tree house was more like a deck structure because of its size. It was more like a deck.
Yeah, and
So I could see their point of view.
I certainly see that, and it.
I've seen a lot bigger than that.
It looks like a handyman's deck that he built. To me, is what it looks like. Well, Shane, go ahead and bump it and turn it off. Yeah, to me, it looks like a deck that a handyman built around a tree.
Yeah.
So, I could certainly see how the neighbors were like, "Oh."
It makes me wonder if the neighbors would complain if it looked more like a house, like it had a roof and walls.
I'd be willing to bet if it looked better, they probably wouldn't complain as much.
Yeah.
Even with the size of it, if it just had a better look to
I
it.
think one of the slides that I have here is a picture of some of the neighbors' playhouses.
Oh, okay.
And other
and that's got a
accessory
roof
units.
and
that they were using as photos. They were showing these photos to show, well, other people have them and they're not considered imposing. But,
right.
But that's what we have
Well,
there.
but if you look at that one there compared to that
one looks like a scaffold.
Yeah,
That's like going up to. I see what you're saying.
like they're
Almost
about to cut that tree down or something. They go,
and then it'll eventually be removed.
yeah,
once
like a temporary.
I could
something.
See that. Yeah.
But yeah, I obviously I can see both sides of it, but
You know what I think else would help? Maybe we
What's
could. Maybe we can get a hold of Mr. Rochick and give him some suggestions.
you think so?
You think he would like that at this point?
I don't think he would care at all.
No, he had the best of intentions, I'm sure too. But
Yeah.
I think another thing that would help is if they painted. If they painted the wood, I know that's probably treated lumber and everything. But what if even if they kept that but changed the color of it so it blended in more?
Yeah,
It didn't stick out.
after a little bit of time, let
It
it dry
would.
out and paint it. Yeah, it would look better. Yeah.
Once it's kind of ages a little bit naturally. It looks like at least on one side they built, I didn't notice this earlier, a wall, like a partition wall.
Yeah, I see that.
But yeah, if you painted it maybe green or brown or something, maybe like that other photo you just showed of the smaller. See how it's dark and
Yeah.
kind of blends in? Mm-hmm. And especially once those bushes bloom, you probably wouldn't even see it.
Right.
So, So we have some photos for those of you who are listening on the podcast. Is some photos that just show what some of the other neighbors have done. Well, here's the caveat here, because of it's not only its size, but because of its it's because of its size, it registers as a what did I call it? Like a deck structure, and because of that, it requires a 5 foot to 8 foot setback from the fence.
Yes,
And that one's like right up against the fence.
and that would probably, what I would assume is, if it's because of its size and they're considering it a deck structure, you would think it's going to have to pass all the local building codes, which now you're getting into. I think it's going to encounter a lot of other problems.
Yeah. So, and my objection to this has to do with the fact that it is so intrusive on the other properties, said Phyllis Eldridge of the Portsmouth Board of Adjustments. So that means it has to be removed. Party poopers!
All they want's a tree house.
Yeah.
A big one.
All right. This is what I have to say. What do you think, audience? At least they're not teaching CRT. Anyway, next story. No, I was just thinking of all the student council, or what is it, school board meetings and everything that we've been seeing on the news.
What
At
they
least
been?
it's- huh?
I hadn't seen them.
about critical race theory and all that stuff?
No, I haven't seen
Oh
that.
man, I watch the news. Shane,
Yeah.
I probably shouldn't watch as much news as I do.
I went to the school today.
Did you?
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
Charlie got in trouble.
Your daughter
I
got in
had a
trouble?
meeting today.
What did she do?
She was typing in class. Yeah, that's what I thought too.
Typing?
That's why I went and had a class. That's
On
why I
what?
went to me.
Her laptop?
Yeah, on her Chromebook. Now the teacher said, "Put your Chromebooks
Oh.
up." They were moving on to the next thing. Then we have a difference of opinion of how long it took to put it up,
I see.
all that, and it's like, okay, I would like, So yeah,
I can think of worse things your kids could be
So I
caught
almost
doing
made
at
this.
school.
I know that's what I'm thinking. All the things that kids are doing in school, but you're wanting to give someone in school suspension for doing their schoolwork. But anyway, that's neither here nor
See,
there.
I used to get in trouble
Did you?
for having a Walkman at school. A
Uh-oh.
Walkman. Do you remember those? Uh-huh. And we thought, I don't know. It's silly to think about what school is like now compared to when we were in school, because I remember we thought we were so special when we had our jean jackets.
Oh yeah,
And then what did we put right inside the jean jacket right here?
you're
We
what?
put the Walkman in, and then we would take our headphones apart, right? So the little foam round headphone was disconnected, and we'd run it through our sleeve right there in our palms. So we'd sit there in class like,
Rock it out.
we thought we weren't getting caught. No,
Too sly.
I know.
That's
Now they have earbuds.
Yeah,
Everything's wireless.
I guess.
It's different.
Oh yes, yeah. The toboggans with the earbuds in them.
Oh yeah, huh?
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Yeah. I thought earlier when they didn't play the typewriter and all, I thought you knew about Charlie's incident at school and you didn't want to.
Oh, they were banned.
Typewriters are banned.
No, that's funny. Yeah. I did not know about that. All right, let's go to the next story on our list. It's a woman. Ooh, here's a good one. This is from Provo, Utah. That's the logo we see from the Provo police behind us.
Is that this story?
Nope. Story before.
Oh God, I'm sorry.
Provo. This is great, right? Provo, to talk about accessory units
Uh-huh.
out in your backyard. A shed. Now we have a shed story. We'll go from treehouse to shed. A Provo woman is being held in jail on a charge of aggravated arson after police said she torched a shed that her husband and his new girlfriend were living in.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, this sounds like a he shed, she shed.
He said, she said.
All right. 60-year-old Claire Robinson. These Claires, I got to tell you, they're trouble.
Yeah.
Isn't that right, Claire?
Yeah.
Except this Claire is 60 years old. She should know better.
Right. She
Is
said
the
be burning
alleged
sheds.
perpetrator. According to the arrest report, Robinson had a butane. This is funny. A butane torch at the time of her arrest. The two victims were living inside the shed. They said that it's an accessory dwelling unit.
That's what they said?
No, I'm saying that. They were living in the shed. They said they found Robinson.
They shed what?
That they said, "Oh, shed."
Oh,
We're in
shit.
trouble. We're up Shed Creek. What the shit is she doing out there?
I don't know about all these sheds.
Oh, God. So they said they found Robinson staring at them as it was burning. She was standing out there.
So she lit it on fire and stood there with her hands on her hips watching them while their shed was burning.
While they're, yep.
Okay. Interesting.
That's right. Officers located a 5-gallon gas can with no lid near the fire. So here, safety's
Make sure
safety
the lid's
first.
closed.
Yeah. An accelerant sniffing canine gave a positive indication on the shoes and pants worn by Robinson. It doesn't sound as if she's kind of trying to hide it, though.
Yeah,
I mean,
if
she's
she
out
sat there
giving
watching,
him
I
the
don't
stink eye.
It didn't sound like she was trying to hide it much at all.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Officers said Robinson told them she tried to alert her husband and the woman she tried to warn them by shouting at them, "There's a fire!
Get out of there!"
But the victims denied that. Robinson was being held without bail at the Utah County Jail on charges of aggravated arson and a first-degree felony. So, yeah.
So I don't guess they have an ado anymore.
No.
It's gone.
That was a lot of do about stuff.
Yeah, that was gone.
That was, like I said, he said, she shed,
Yes.
she shed issue. Police don't want to get
Now there's no shed.
yeah. It's like you see the judge. She's at her arraignment or whatever, and he's like, Yes. What did she say? He said, what?
She shed.
Yeah. I don't care. All right. All right. We'll put that one away. All right. Now we're going from a treehouse to a shed to a shanty.
A
How about this
shanty.
story? This is a good one. This is funny. This looks scary at first. For those of you who are watching, we're gonna go ahead and we can roll the video.
You ready for
Seth and well, hold on. Seth and Cody, a couple buddies, they're filming themselves ice fishing for trout on Lake Canisteo. I have to ask my wife. It's in northern Minnesota. Well, I mean, there are all kinds of lakes. It's the land of 10,000 lakes.
Correct.
The small outdoor camera mounted into their shanty, their ice fishing, they decided they were going to shoot themselves fishing for the day.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure that would be an exciting video to go back and watch.
Yes. Go back and watch yourself ice fishing for a day.
You know what I mean? Things.
Hours. Well, it's 12 hours of you sitting there.
Yeah,
like this.
right. Well, I mean,
Maybe they're expecting to catch a big one.
that's like you know, your kids have like Charlie has an assembly at school or whatever.
Yeah.
How many parents are at these assemblies like trying to videotape every? Who goes home and watches that? Right? Like, golly.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Anyway, do we watch ourselves ice fish? Well, apparently Seth and Cody do, and actually, I think they're glad they did because
Yeah.
this video has gone viral. You can go ahead and roll it. So the two of them are sitting there, and I think it was which one was it? I think it was Cody decides to take the snowmobile back to land to pick up a third buddy to go fishing with him.
Okay.
So there he is zipping up the outside. This is kind of one of those like tent likes of what would you call it? Vinyl? What is it? Not vinyl. Anyway, tent material. What is that called? Anyway, he fires up his snowmobile, and there's a lot of snow. So when I don't know if you know about snowmobiles, is if it has snowed a lot, you really have to gun the thing to get it going. Right. When you go from zero. So he fires up the snowmobile. Look what happens. He's like. He screams. Bloody murder.
How did he fall so far down?
I don't know.
How was that up above?
I think it has something to do with the angle. I think it's actually flat there, and so we're looking down on them.
I mean, it looks like this thing's floating up like freaking Dorothy and the Wizard of
yeah.
Oz's house, and he fell out
and
of
he
it.
is flying. So, Cody is flying on that snowmobile until he realizes, oops. So it's really funny. I think in the video, you see him walk up, see? He finally realizes what has happened. It takes a moment to examine what's happened, and he goes, oh, I didn't lose anything. So he turns around and brings the snowmobile back. So it's kind of funny. He just forgot to untie his snowmobile from the shanty, which and I'm not from there. My wife is. She can tell me all kinds of stories. Like, I remember going out to my mother-in-law's lake house in the summer, and it's just like here. Just like any other lake, water, warm, everything else.
Right.
And then going back in the winter, and people are out there with SUVs on the ice, on the lake, and I just can't believe how they do it. But that's what they're doing. So that's it, pretty much. Cody forgot to unhook the sled and snowmobile. They have a good attitude about it, though. They're laughing about it. No one was hurt. So that's why one of the reasons we wouldn't share the video if someone got hurt.
Right.
But they're laughing about it now and actually kind of pleased that this video has gone viral like it has.
Yeah.
So congratulations, Seth and Cody, for becoming famous. Your 15 minutes of fame. Thanks for entertaining us. All right. I appreciate it. And entertaining our viewers and listeners. So we owe you one. So that's it for our news update for this week. All right, now that our no typewriters. Yeah, they're on in studio suspension. ISS
suspension. No typewriters.
So let's talk about what we learned today. That's what we like to do when we talk about
Gentlemen, let's broaden our
part of the show. That's, of course, is brought to you by RIC Home Inspections. That's my company, and that's what we specialize in, inspecting your house, helping you learn about everything you need to know about your house. What did we learn today? We learned what ADUs are, accessory dwelling units.
Yes.
Never heard of those before.
We know all about them now.
Yeah. We also learned that. Where's my? Oh, I don't have my ring. It's missing. I have to reload my button bar. Ring. We learned that sometimes you need special. There are special caveats, I guess, with your lending that you need to tend to if you're looking at properties of that type.
Yes.
So you need to get with an expert who knows the ins and outs, like a prime lending expert. Mm-hmm. We also learned that sometimes you need to think about what you're doing before you hang your clothes.
Yes.
I hung mine on an electrical plug, my metal wire hangers, which wasn't bright, but my brain was mush throughout the Southern Home and Garden Show, going from one thing to another. Shane was doing a good job of collecting food for us, by the way. You did a good job.
Yeah.
That's one of the things I learned for the.
Yeah, went.
I'd go out and do I'd MC one of these cooking things, and I'd come back and I'm like, where did this food come from? At our table at our booth.
People are just giving food.
Yeah.
Hey,
You
you
go
watch the
around and collect.
presentation, you get some food out of it.
That's it. We also learned that I need to write a bit about people who say no offense, because they say no offense, but they're always offending. There's no way around it. There's no way around it. We also learned that it's important to be, I guess, specific if you're building an ADU or anything similar to that, a tree house.
Yes.
With your neighbors before
Yeah.
getting in over your head.
Yeah.
You learn a little lesson about that from.
It makes sense. Yeah, it's always good to try to give as much information as you can. On
Like if
stuff
you're
like
if
that.
you know you're going to build a tree house, kind of get an idea of what that definition is. Where you breach,
What
where you
exactly?
breach the size limit, and then all of a sudden you're having to worry about, I'm too close to the fence easement and that sort of thing.
Right.
So we learned a lesson about that. We learned the easy way. Unfortunately, our friends in New Hampshire learned the hard way. Got on national news. We also learned to untie our snowmobile from our shanty.
Yes, that would be a great idea.
Ice shanty when we're ice
When
fishing.
you're going to get your other friend.
Yeah.
I wonder if they ever made it back to get the other friend. They forget about him.
Probably
after
still
this.
sitting there going.
He's
He
got
was probably
he's got his
on
phone like
YouTube
this.
going, "Oh man, that sucks. Who did that?" So, but and that's what we learned today. We've got actually something to teach you for next week. Do we have it? Is it loaded? This is the photo from the field I teased a couple of weeks ago. What is going on with that chimney? Is that bad? Is it okay? Well, we'll get to that when we get back. When we come back on the Home Pros Radio Show next week. That's all I want to say about it. I don't want to.
You ain't got nothing else to say about it.
No, not right now. But we'll talk about it later. All right. Thank you for watching. Please remember to share and like and help us grow the Home Pros Radio Show audience by becoming a subscriber to the Home Pros Radio Show and all of our social media outlets at Home Pros Radio is where you can find us at all those places, and also subscribe to our podcast. We love talking with each of you every week. Please let us hear from you. Ask at homeprosradio.com or simply call our comment line. What's the number?
The number is 248-466-3776.
That's 248 Home Pro. Thank you so much. We'll catch you next week on the Home Pros Radio Show.
Thank you for listening to the Home Pros Radio Show. If you have a question for the Home Pros, visit us online at homeprosradio.com, where you can also catch our podcast episodes and learn more about the topics and guests we bring to you each week. The Home Pros Radio Show is made possible by Prime Lending, RIC Home Inspections, Closing Contractor, Radon Recon, and Carolina Heating Service. If you are a trusted service provider in our area and would like to contribute to the show, send us a message through our Contact Us page at homeprosradio.com. Once again, thanks for listening to the Home Pros Radio Show.